just as it seems like we're getting to the end of the AYN Loki saga, AYN dropped some bombshells about the Odin 2. In this video, I'm going to go over the short Q&A that AYN did in their Discord, as well as sharing my opinions on the questions and answers. Let's get to it. Hello and welcome to Retro Breeze. Before I get into the Q&A, I want to go over the current situation with the AYN Odin 2. Now this was previously kind of soft announced in a different Q&A, which was about the Loki, where they said something like, Odin 2 is coming, whatever, we'll leave that for Odin 2, something like that, I can't remember, sue me. Anyway, the point is that Odin 2 has been in development already, albeit it's taken a bit of a backseat to the Loki, as you can imagine. Now what we know about the Odin 2 right now is very light. What we know is that it is going to have an advanced mobile chip, is what they said before, and they've also said that they want to go for a premium chip, not an older chip or one that's already been used or something like that. They want to go for a very modern chip, so we should be looking at a very powerful device. What we also know about the chip is that according to Starling, it will be a chip above the Snapdragon 865, so that's already a super powerful chip right there. And honestly, that's pretty much all we know. So this Q&A is going to go over some of that. There isn't an awful lot of new information, to be honest, but there are some nice things in here, especially regarding the launch and the ETA on the Odin 2. So let's go ahead and get into the Q&A. Now bear in mind that a lot of these questions overlap with each other, so there might be some repetition here, but I don't want to change any of it or misrepresent the information. So as always, these questions and answers are exactly the same as how they were asked and answered in the Discord, except for where changing it a little bit will bring more clarity to the question or answer. So let's go into it, starting with hardware. And the question is, can you even say if it's a mobile phone chip or a CPU like Intel or AMD? And the answer, good question, it's an advanced chip. So that's not really an answer. However, they have previously stated that it was going to be a mobile style chip, an ARM chip basically. So something along the lines of Android, not a handheld PC like the Loki. Next question. I do believe the Odin 2 needs to have a powerful chip. Time after time we are only offered small upgrades and expected to buy a new handheld every year. And it is silly in my opinion. I get the point of making handhelds is to sell them, but it would be nice to have something powerful enough to where the lifespan is more than one calendar year. Great point. And the answer to that is, it's an advanced chip, I promise, but I cannot tell you the specific chip name. So, looks like we're not going to get any info about this chip yet. All I'm going to say on this topic is that I really hope they do not go with the Snapdragon G3X Gen 1, aka the Snapdragon 888, because that chip just gets way too hot and it's way too inefficient. I really hope they go with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 or Gen 2, that would just be awesome. Just to put that into perspective, that would be basically flawless GameCube and PS2. It would be the new benchmark for those systems. And it's also the chip that's present on the Red Magic 8 Pro, and if you've seen anything to do with that, it is mind-boggling how good that is. Next question. INEO sucks. Okay, that's not a question, but there's more to it. They cannot even design a proper grip. Please give the Odin 2 a nice grip. The grip on Odin or extra grip? Odin grip is too small. Will Odin 2 be of similar size as Loki? If so, that grip will be great. And the answer to that is, if you have any suggestions, you can tell me. There is still time to improve our Odin 2. It should be between the size of Odin and Loki. So that's really interesting actually. What I'm gathering from this answer specifically is that this device is going to be more or less the same size as the Odin, but probably with enough space for full-size sticks like they're doing on the Loki. I'm guessing it will be much thinner than the Loki because the Loki is going to be a chunky boy to say the least. Next question. Please add a lanyard hole for Odin 2. That is one of my biggest requests for us people that drop things often, and I can relate to this question. And the answer, tragically, the console itself has no lanyard hole. If we make an extra grip/case, we would think about it. And then somebody posted a picture of the Spygen Steam Deck case, and I actually have one of these too, and that has a lanyard hole, and it is just an awesome case overall. And Starling, who's a member of the AYN team, seemed really enthusiastic about this, and said, transferred, let's see what we can do, this looks nice. That's awesome. You know what? The biggest underdog for the Odin, the original Odin for me, was the protective plastic cover. I actually use this and I think it looks and feels great. I mean, I prefer the system without it, but I also prefer to have the extra protection. So something like the Spygen rubber case for the Steam Deck I think would be excellent for one of these handhelds. Final question, or rather a suggestion, please also give it a 7-inch screen and full-size sticks. It will be a dream device if it has a very high-end mobile chip. And the answer to that, which I'm really not surprised about, is the same size as Odin's screen. And I know a lot of people are looking for a bigger device than the Odin, but I have to say that for ARM gaming like Android and GameCube PS2 level, I really don't see the need for a really big screen. I get if you're playing AAA PC games, you might want that bigger screen, but I think that it's really good that AYN are sticking with the same screen for the Odin, the Loki, and the Odin 2. Because I think it's something that they know, in fact they built the special chip to make it work, so I think it's good, and that screen is amazing anyway, so yeah, I'm happy with this. Next up, we're asking questions about the software. Question: would you guys ever consider making public your Android source, so customers can build it for ourselves and use the Odin/Odin V2 as a hackable console of our own? I think you are missing a big opportunity by not doing this. And the answer? Probably not. It's the key that we are making a console. And the follow-up question to that was, I don't fully understand what you mean by this being the key. Are there complications with your ability to manufacture the product if you release the source for others to also build the OS? What about when you release Odin V2? Would you at that point consider releasing Android source for the original Odin? And the answer, if the customers get the source, it's okay. But we cannot make sure that our competitors would have the source. They can use it to build their own products. That is a big harm to us. So what they're saying here basically is that they would release the software and it would be there for the customers, that's fine. But if their competitors were to get hold of their source code, they could use it and make their own handhelds. I definitely see what AYN are saying here, especially before the device is even out there. You know, they're not going to want to release the source. However, the day after this, they did release the source for the Odin's Android kernel, which is awesome. And it basically means that we should be seeing more custom firmware coming for this thing eventually. And the last section here is launch and pricing. And the question is, how much? I just got Odin, but we'll sell it if the newer one is significantly better. And the answer is, no worries, it's a late 2023 plan. We will run an IndieGoGo campaign for it. So not much to do with pricing there, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Next question, when will the IndieGoGo campaign for Odin 2 happen? And the answer, late 2023. I cannot tell you more details, sorry. And the last question here, what can you tell us about the Odin 2 launch? And the answer, Odin 2 exists. We will run an IndieGoGo campaign for the Odin 2. We may ship the first batch very soon, and the rest need to wait as normal IndieGoGo backers. So that's kind of an interesting statement, but things get a little bit more interesting from there. Because Starling, again from the AYN team, said we are going to sell 1,000 to 2,000 units first without a long waiting time. After the first batch shipment, the rest of the orders need to wait for the ordinary waiting time on IgG. Not 100%, but most likely this way. They also said, it's the current plan, the accurate quantity could be different in regards to the number of units they were planning to sell. And then Starling says, maybe 500 to 1,000. Once we use this plan, we will announce the exact quantity before the campaign starts. And then Nicole from AYN then replied saying it's just a plan, but not 100% do it this way. And then she also said, we may ship the first batch very soon. It's Starling's plan, not Andy. Now Andy, I believe, is the CEO, or, you know, the main bigwig at AYN. And then Starling says, suggestion with all my heart and it would make people happy. So what I'm getting from this is that there's a bit of crosstalk here. And my main takeaway would be, do not take any of this as a solid concrete plan. On one hand, we have Starling saying they're going to send out some units pretty soon, and then saying that there will be a large first batch that go out, either at the beginning or during the IndieGoGo campaign, and everybody else will have to wait. And then there's Nicole saying, well, that's not actually the executive's plan, it's actually Starling's idea. And then Starling saying, well, this would be a great idea, which, yeah, maybe it would be. But overall, I wouldn't really take any of this as concrete right now. I'll definitely keep a lookout to see any more news on the upcoming IndieGoGo campaign. And one final note from Starling here. They told me that Odin 2 is pretty good, so if you like our Odin 1, you would want to have an Odin 2. It's a completely upgraded, powerful console. And that's pretty much it for this one. Overall, there's really not a lot of meat on these Odin 2 bones yet. It's only really a few little teasers and tidbits, but nothing really solid to go on. All we know is that the Odin 2 is coming. It's coming in a late 2023 IndieGoGo campaign. We also know that the screen will be the same 6-inch screen that's present on the Odin and the Loki, and that the size of the Odin 2 should be somewhere between the Odin and the Loki. What we don't know is basically everything else. The exact plan for the launch, the processor it's going to have, any of the other specifications, full-size sticks or not. So there's still a lot up in the air here, but I thought this was a really nice kind of soft intro to the Odin 2, or the idea of the Odin 2, just to give us solidarity that it is going to happen. And I'm personally looking forward to it. Listen, I know the Loki situation has been crazy. I think that they just completely balked the launch of the Loki, to be honest. But that's not to say that their devices aren't good. The Odin to this day is still my favourite handheld I've ever owned, and the quality in my opinion is still above everything else out there, even the likes of Retroid and Anbernic. So I do think that AYN can pull off another really great ARM handheld, and if they do go for a top-end chip, something brand new, I think that that will be absolutely excellent. AYN is also running a kind of semi-unofficial community poll on their Discord for Odin 2 colorways. They have a selection of mock-ups available, just to kind of get the feelers out on what type of colorways the people will be interested in. And there's basic ones like black and white and stuff like that, and then also some transparent colors too to choose from. Even some special colorways like this awesome Sega Saturn edition, which I will put down cold hard cash for right now. But bear in mind, they've stated very clearly this is not an official poll and it's not indicative of what they will or won't do. It's just to get a few opinions on what colors they may or may not do. And one last thing regarding the Odin 2, if you want to have some kind of input and chat to the Odin team, you should get in their AYN Discord now, because they're still taking suggestions and feedback for the Odin 2. And I do think that there's a lot of time still available for us to influence the final product. So if there's a feature that you're really interested in or an exciting idea, you should go in and ask or tell them about it. Why not, after all? So that's it for this one. Let me know what you think about this Q&A in the comment box below. Are you looking forward to the Odin 2, planning on picking one up, or do you have the original and what do you think of it? Do let me know in the comments. And also leave a like on this video if you liked it, subscribe to my channel for more Odin 2 updates, and AYN Loki updates, which there should be one of those coming in the next few days as well. Thank you very much for watching Retro Breeze, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon.